Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. As always, I am your host, Garrick King. And on today's episode, we have Micah Dank back. How are you today, sir?
I'm great. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Glad that the snowy weather that we had here has gone away. It's going to warm back up this week. So we briefly touched in the last conversation that we had on the ohm frequency that one of your characters talked about. I believe it was in the first book, and how I had looked at the number and just because that's what I tend to do now is look at numbers and add them up, realized that they total the number 11. But there was something about it I could not let go. And it kind of tied into the email that I received from that person, Bob, where it said a note from the universe and how I had mistaken it to mean possibly a note as in a message, but then it kind of struck me that maybe it's meaning a frequency. So diving into this, I did a little research on the internet and found where it says that while 136.1 hertz is between a C and a C sharp using the standard concert pitch of A equals 440 hertz, it is precisely a C sharp when A is tuned to 432 hertz.
Right. Now, before you get into anything further, you know the story behind 432 and 440, right?
Only what I've read on the internet. So I don't know if what I've read
so
is
basically,
accurate.
432. Sorry, that's my wife. 432 is a harmonic frequency. Okay. If you add up all the lives of the Sumerians' king list, it comes up to 432,000. They'll say this one ruled for 35,000 years. This one ruled. If you add them all up, it comes out to 432, which is a harmonic frequency. If you've ever seen it, get a chance to look at what 432 as a harmonic frequency looks like in resonance. It's a beautiful pattern. Now, they used to tune music to 432 to our frequency. Okay, they now tune it to 440 frequency. Okay, which is a discorded thing. If you ever looked up 440, it's not a pattern at all. Okay, now there are some people throughout history that continued to set it at 432. So I'm just going to name a few and tell me if you could see a pattern with them.
Okay.
John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse, John Lennon. You see a pattern with these people?
They're all dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, yeah. So everything used to be tuned to 432. Now it's tuned to 440, which is a discorded frequency. Okay, 432 is a harmonic frequency that breathes within us. Okay, so that's just a little backstory to that. So anyway, go on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that totally makes perfect sense with everything that I've read. Yeah. So we'll see let's see what you think where this is going.
Right, because 432 comes out to 9, which is a harmonic, which is a perfect number.
Correct.
Whereas 440 comes out to 8, which is nothing.
Right. And I saw videos where they were demonstrating how the 432 hertz could affect water and the patterns that were forming. And then 440 would look like gobbledygook.
Yeah, they do that with sand too.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, great. I think you're gonna really dig this information then. So looking at, we're gonna chase two different numbers here. We're gonna chase the 1111, and then we're gonna chase the number 9 as being the ruling number. So looking at 136.1, so what I did, and let me turn off my notifications so people will stop bugging me. Okay. All right, so I put the number in as 136.1 and then added its mirror opposite. So what we get is the number 137.731. Again, this number. Do what?
3773.
Yeah. And then we have ones at both ends. So it's like 3773 encased within the number 11.
Right.
And that 3773 comes up because if you took in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, from the Hebrew Bible, which is 2701 in Gematria, added 2701 plus its mirror opposite of 1072. We have 3773. So let's go back. And also, when I had talked about the Rotos or Sator square, the numbers that I put into that sequence were equaled 4884. Subtract 1111 from 4884, and you're back to 3773. So it keeps popping up all over the place. And so will the number 121, as we'll get to here in just a minute. So I looked at this as a possible encrypted 1111 because we have 1 at the beginning, 3 and 7 reduces to 10, which reduces to 1, and 7 and 3 does the same thing. And then we have 1 at the end, so it could be an encoded 1111. And then 1361 plus, and this is without the decimal, so 1361 plus 1631 equals 2992, which is also a possible encoded 1111. Because again,
Right.
2 and 9 is 11, 9 and 2 is 11. Plus, if you add up 2 plus 9 plus 9 plus 2, you get 22, which is the equivalent of 11 plus 11.
Right.
So, and then also adding 29 plus 92, we get the number 121, which is a number that, am I even sharing my screen? I'm not even sharing my screen with you. Hang on a second. What am I doing? Okay. All right. So as you can see my screen now, can't you?
Yep.
Okay. So as you can see, not all the numbers do it. There's occasional ones that come out to be 22, but the majority of them, when you take the last 2 digits, add the next 2 and the next 2, they'll come out to 121 nearly every single time. Now, that'll be important here in just a moment. And again, the 29 plus 92 was 121. Now, the rest of the stuff that I have on the screen here is just talking about the 432 hertz. It's known as Verity's A. It's an alternative tuning that is mathematically consistent with the universe, so on and so forth. You brought up a lot of the harmonic side of it and how it has, benefits to creating patterns, but I've also read where it affects us, our emotional states. It can help, open our minds. And there is a theory that the change from 432 to 440 was dictated by a Nazi propaganda minister. And I looked up how to pronounce his name, Joseph Goebbels.
Goebbels, yeah.
Yeah. So he used it to make people think and feel a certain manner and to make them a prisoner of a certain consciousness.
That's what it does.
Yeah. Yep. So this is going to look like I'm jumping to something else, but it's actually connected. We're going to jump over to what is known as the divine triangle or the golden gnomon. And this triangle at the top has a angle of 108 degrees, and then each corner has an angle of 36 degrees.
Right.
Now, and I know you know this, but just for people online, I'm not just pulling these numbers out of my ass. Anybody can go and look up divine triangle or golden gnomon on Wikipedia, and they'll see this exact pattern right here with 108 and 36 and 36.
Right.
So looking at these numbers, if you envision this like a pyramid, like we're looking at a 4-sided pyramid, but we're only looking at one face of it. The top angle of 108 times 4, because we're going to envision this as a pyramid, gives us exactly 432.
Wow.
Now the 2 angles here at the bottom being 36, so 36 and 36 is 72. Subtract 36 from 108, you also have 72. Now these
Right.
numbers, 108 reduces to 9, 36 reduces to 9, 72 reduces to 9. So I'm going to show you something interesting here. I'm going to duplicate this one face, set it right on top of itself. And I'm simply going to rotate it 72 degrees. I'm going to do it again. And as we have the as above, so below, I'm going to do minus 72. And look what we have.
Wow.
Now, not only that, we just talked about the frequency of 432. 432 plus its mirror opposite of 234 is 666. And I raised the question that, actually, I kind of made it more of a statement that the best way to hide information is to give people a reason to fear it.
Right.
And that's what I feel like is being, or what's taking place here. Because why would they switch from 432 to 440? What are they trying to keep from us?
Right.
And then when you see how this plays out, it's like, of course, people see the symbol and that number, and what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to freak out and be like, oh, that's of the devil. Stay away from it.
Well, you know what the pentagram goes back to, right? First of all, I have to point out this is an upside down pentagram. That was started by an occultist named Eliphas Levi, okay, back in the 1800s. Okay, he's the first one that invented the pentagram. Okay. But the pentagram itself goes back to what I talk about in astrology. You have Lucifer, who's known as the morning star, right? And the morning star, he's also known as the light bringer. And in Genesis 1:3, you know, God says, let there be light. Well, how are you going to have light unless you have someone to bring the light? Okay, so Lucifer brings the light in the beginning of Genesis. Lucifer is also known as the morning star. The morning star is also known as Venus, the planet Venus. Because if you look at the sun coming up wherever you live, coming up in the east in the morning, as it cracks the dawn, right above it, you'll see a bright pinpoint light called Venus. Okay, it announces the arrival of God's sun every day. Okay, Lucifer also has a pentagram. Now, keeping with Lucifer and Venus, if you take Venus and Earth and you circumnavigate it around the sun in a year's time, it almost connects at the 5 points. You connect the 5 points, you get the pentagram. So I write that in the books too. But that's basically where that comes from.
I don't think I've gotten to the part in the books where you've mentioned that. Maybe, or have you? Is it in the first 3?
No.
Okay. So it's coming up then. I just started the 4th book this morning, and I thought it was interesting that in the first chapter alone, how many times the phrase "as above, so below" is mentioned. Yeah. Which is going to come up. And I was thinking the synchronicity. My God, this is insane. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to show you really quickly on this particular one, this angle over here. Yeah. See how the number, it says 288. The angle is 288. Right. And I've had people question, well, why is it 288? Well, anytime that you rotate something, you're rotating it around a center point, which is a 360-degree complete rotation if you rotated it completely around in a circle. So 360 degrees minus 288 is the number 72. So that's what it's basically showing us, is that it is a very accurate number, that is the right
well,
rotation.
360 is 5 times 72. You have 5 points on the pentagram.
Right.
Each 72 angles.
Correct. Well, and also 108, just pointing this out, 108 plus 36 plus 36 is 180, which is half of a complete circle. Right. Just throwing that out there. Okay. And I think you're going to find this completely interesting with everything that you just said concerning Lucifer and everything just a moment ago. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to Select these and group them together. Okay, I'm going to bring those to the front and just lay them on top. So if this line connected here, you could easily see where this shape is formed from a pentagon. So, but I'm going to copy this.
You got all this just because I wrote 136.1 in a book?
Yeah. No shit, dude. Seriously.
I'm glad I could help.
Do what?
I said, I'm glad I could help.
In a big way. In a big way. Okay, so I'm going to ungroup these, and I'm just going to take this one, this one right here, and I'm going to bring it down to where it's resting on this yellow line, which I'm calling just the foundation line. And then I'm going to leave this one here. So as we talked about the as above, so below, I looked at this one as being above because it's pointing up. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to chase that number 9. So I'm simply going to change this from being above to below by rotating it 180 degrees. And again, 1 and 8 is 9. This one is the below, and I'm going to rotate it so it's the above. Look familiar?
You mean this?
Yep. I was like, damn. Like, what the hell? Okay. Moving forward. I'm going to take just simply this one here. I'm going to copy it over here. Now, remember the number 121 that I talked about? It kept popping up. Don't know where the idea came from. Just popped in my head. Let's rotate this sucker 121 degrees. Doesn't look like much until you compare it to NASA's symbol with what they call the forked tongue.
Oh, wow.
And it's exactly rotated the exact degree that this is. Now, this is where shit is going to start getting interesting. I'm going to rotate this one back to 0. I'm going to duplicate it, set it right on top of itself. I'm going to rotate the top one 121. And this other one minus 121. Does this look at all familiar?
Is that, I'm thinking aliens, but I don't know if I'm on the right thought.
It's known as the Sigil of Lucifer. This is it.
Oh, wow.
If we take and set it, it matches up perfectly. Now, this V at the bottom of this sigil, I found a guy online who thinks that the V stands for vanadium, which is a chemical element with the symbol V and the atomic number of 23. Vanadium, using the Jewish cipher in gematria, gives the value of 985, and so does the name Jesus. We also get the terms find the zodiac proof, I am named true prophet of God, a matrix is a proof of a God, God is the alphabet and the number, reformat the matrix, the day shortened, and I decode entire matrix sign. But I'm also wondering if that V couldn't just also stand for Venus. Don't know.
It's reasonable.
Yeah, it would make sense. Now, what's interesting about this symbol, if we rotate it 90 degrees, it matches up with NASA's diagram of the sun and how it casts a shadow during an eclipse, as we can see here from one of their graphics, which they've also, or someone has also pasted the Mason or Masonic symbol here.
Mhm.
But you can see the cross patterns and how everything perfectly lines up. Now, taking the exact same symbol, I'm going to set everything back to 0. And I'm simply going to take the top one. Whoops, should have done 180. And rotate it upside down like this. And then I'm going to take a line like so. I'm just going to thicken it up here and change the color so it matches. I'm going to put it here like a foundation line so that it's clearly dividing the above from the below. I'm going to group these together. I'm going to rotate them 135 degrees. And keep in mind, 1 + 3 + 5 is 9. And I'm simply going to copy it. We're going to come over here to what is known as the sigil of Saturn. Paste it in. And it lines up perfectly.
Wow.
Now, what are the chances that all of this would unfold from simply the 136.1 and just chasing this rabbit hole and all of this unfolding, finding all of these connections? I mean, it seems as though it is by design.
Mhm.
And as I said earlier, one of the best ways to hide information is to give people a reason to fear it. And I feel like this code, whatever this thing is, this 1111 code, and I've just kind of been thinking in my head, like, what if this is the ultimate code breaker? Because it seems to be revealing a lot. It's not just focusing on one thing. It's revealing all of these different esoteric secret symbols and information. I mean, we're getting the sigil of Saturn, the sigil of Lucifer. We've seen the connection with NASA, the Masonic symbol popping up, how everything tied back to the zodiac. You know, what was it called? The Rotos square, how the Vedic square. I mean, it's just like all of this stuff is just being unpacked from this simple equation. And it's mind-boggling to me. And at this point, I'm like, this cannot be coincidence at all.
Right.
It's too perfectly lined up.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that is basically what I've unpacked just from reading your book and seeing the ohm frequency and not being able to let that number go.
Wow. That's wild.
I know. I know. And one of the other things, remember the sequence that I was telling you, that all of these numbers that were generated from taking 333, multiplying 1111, getting 369, 963, adding 1111 back, generating all those numbers, they went into the sequence of 369, 258, 1470, and started over. So I thought it'd be interesting to see what would happen if you took 369 plus its mirror opposite of 963. You get 1332, which also happens to be the same number you would get if you took 666 and added them together. 258 plus 852 gives you 1,110, and 147 plus 741, its mirror opposite, gives you 888. Add those columns together, you get 333, which is one of the numbers that started this whole thing. And then taking those numbers, adding their mirror opposites, it's odd to me that it would also produce the exact same number of 333.
Right.
And then adding these two numbers together, and I think you'll find this one interesting. So we're just going to add those together and we get 666. Again, another odd connection. And I'm not looking at this as it being something dark and sinister and evil. I'm looking at it as one of the ways that they have encoded, or whoever or whatever has encoded this information, doing so in a way to keep the information moving throughout history, but also, keeping people. I don't think it's, whatever this is, I don't think it's trying to do it. I think whoever's trying to keep the information from coming out is encasing the information in something that would appear dark, sinister, give people a reason to fear it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that's it. I mean, that's basically what I've unpacked here. And it's a lot in just a short amount of, frames here, but the connections I just don't think can be denied at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think?
I don't know what to make of it. Usually I know what to make of things.
It's mind-boggling. I mean, it really is. It is mind-boggling. It's like it's just unpacking and unloading so much. And if you trace it all back, you can see where everything is connected. And maybe that's one of the messages that's, encoded here, is that everything is connected.
Right.
I may not think that I'm connected to some, woman in China, but, go through the course of who I know and who those people know and who those people know and who those people know. And eventually you'll find someone that knows that same woman in China. So, throughout those connections, there is a connection there. But, I think we're all connected. We're all in this together. And I think that's one of the things that, humanity needs to start realizing, is that we need to stop being so selfish and thinking about ourselves and start thinking about us as a collective, and start working together as a people, and stop having all this separation and bullshit that's going on.
Right. No, I agree. You're 100% right. It's crazy stuff, though.
It is very crazy stuff, and I have a friend who thinks that I should talk to a mathematician, and I agree, but at the same time, it's finding the right mathematician who's going to look at this and not discount all of the esoteric side of it. That needs to be able to have an open mind and view all of the information. And same goes, with gematria, trying to find, someone who is, well knowledged in gematria, but again, willing to have an open mind and view everything else, because it's not just focused on gematria. It's not just focused on the zodiac. It's not just focused on numerology. It's combining all these things and doing it in such a way that it really does feel like that there is a code that has been broken here. And now all this information is just pouring out.
Yeah. I mean, I could try to get you on a couple of podcasts to share your information if you're interested in doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of podcasts lined up. One this Saturday and another one a couple of weeks in March. So people are finding this information interesting. So I'm glad and I'm hopeful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm willing to share it, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point of my channel is, anytime I find something interesting and new, I'm willing to just give it out to the world and say, hey, this is what I found. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to just pick certain things that I find. I knew the pentagram would upset some people, but I just phrased it as, put your religious beliefs aside, just suspend them for a few minutes and have an open mind. That's all I ask. It is interesting that this last video that I did has had way less views than all of the others.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's because of the topic contained within.
Yeah.
And possibly some of the tags that I put in, such as NASA, Sigil of Lucifer, those types of things. I don't know if YouTube's algorithm is preventing it from being shared and seen by a lot of people. So I may go through and take those tags out and see if that changes the view, but who knows? But I'm more than willing to share any of this information with anyone who's willing to listen and take the time to just sit down and have an open mind.
Wow. I love this stuff, man. I'm glad that I helped you move on because you were like stuck for a little bit.
I was, because I kept thinking, okay, something, and I literally said this one night before going to bed, it's like, just in my head, it's like, I don't know who's helping me with this, but I feel like I'm reaching an end of the road, and this cannot be the end. There's more to be revealed. So if you want this information out, you've got to help me out. And then the next thing I know, it's like I stumble across you, start reading your books, this information starts coming out, and it's just these connections being made. It's all for a reason. It's all by design.
So where do you go next?
Don't know. Just gotta keep plugging away. I did find that there is another unique way of these numbers that were generated coming back to the number 1111, which makes it feel like it is more of a hidden code and less of a mathematical coincidence or whatever. But if you start at the end of these numbers, reading from right to left, like you would Hebrew, and start adding the numbers up. So let me just jump over here real quick. I'll do it again, but like 8 and 5 is 13. So we put 1 and put 3 in a hold. Then take 3 plus 2 is 5, and 5 is 10, which gives us another 1 and 0 in the hold. And then we look at 4 and 2 is 6, 6 and 8 is 14. So that gives us another 1 with 4 in the hold. So then we look at 4 and 4 is 8, 9 and 10, which gives us 1 and 0 in the hold. And so we have 1, 1, 1, 1, comes back to 11, 11. And every number will do it in that sequence as well. Now, the original way that I was doing it was by taking the last 4 numbers. So like 5285, plus the next 4, which is 4824. And then 1001 gives you 1111. So there's different ways that, you know, this comes back to that very same number. But again, you know, I don't know what, and that's what's killing me, and that's what I want to know. It's like, what is the ultimate end game to all of this? And is this merely just a way of decoding information that has been hidden in plain sight throughout the years? As you know, like I was telling my mom the other day, she's in her 70s, trying to explain this to her is a little hard, but she does her best. But I told her, I said, just imagine you're 71, and let's just imagine that you have this amazing information and you're the only person who knows it. Nobody else on the planet knows this information but you. If you do not pass this information on to your successor or find a way to keep the information going, the information dies with you.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. That's why I had to get all my stuff out in books.
Yeah. And I feel like that's this information has literally been given to us, but those who have the eyes to see will or decode it.
Yeah, that's the famous Jesus line, right? For those with eyes to see and ears to hear. I talk about that in my books all the time.
Yeah. And it's totally playing out.
I mean, it's wonderful.
It is. I mean, it truly gives me chills each time.
You know what the difference is? You know what the difference is, though, between our works?
What's that?
My work, and I don't mean this insultingly, but I figured out my work's purpose so far. You haven't. You just keep making connections. You need to figure out where this all goes.
Exactly. And that's the very thing that is driving me, you know, not to mention just being force-fed those numbers, seeing 333 or waking up at 3:33 every morning for practically an entire year. You know, having 1111 just presented to me in so many different ways, just over and over and over, you know, is what really started this. And then for it to unpack itself, you know, last year, like why now? Why is all of this coming out now? You know, and then trying to find out why is it coming to me? And, you know, and then coming across those phrases like, you know, in God, Garrett King is the chosen mathematician having the value of 1111, or, you know, Garrett King decodes the God matrix having the value of 1111.
Right.
And it's like, what are the chances of that? You know,
right.
All of this is so far past coincidence.
I have a book for you if you're interested after my books.
Sure.
It's called The Bible Code. And it's
I've read it. Well, I used to have it a long time ago because I used to work at a bookstore when I first moved to Tulsa.
From Dresden, right?
Yeah.
You've read them. You've read them all?
Not all of them. I read the first one.
Fascinating stuff, right?
Very fascinating. And I wished, is that software still out there? Do you know?
Oh, it's probably evolved way beyond that at this point.
Yeah, because I would love to find the software that they used.
I'm sure you could Google him and ask him.
Yeah, I may do that because
it'll let you run sequences of numbers so you don't have to do it manually.
Oh, wow. It'd be interesting to put some of these numbers in and see what is generated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because then you wouldn't have to plug them in one at a time or whatever. You could definitely just spit out like 20,000 of them.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I think I'm going to reach out to him and see if that software has evolved, or if he, you know, still has a copy or would be willing to share it.
Yeah, do a little research, look into it. Let me know how that goes. Yeah,
definitely I will. Because I mean, this has to be it has to be leading to something. It can't be for nothing.
Right.
Because if I get to the end of this and it's just, you know, a cupcake sitting there, I'm going to be so pissed. I want something amazing. This has to be something amazing at the end. I just, it's getting to that point. Because again, it's pointing in so many different directions, and it's pulling. It almost feels like a black hole in a sense. It's pulling all these different things from so many different directions into one source.
Right.
But again,
100%.
Yeah. But what is the end game of it all? That's what I want to know.
Okay.
And that's my goal. That's my goal of trying to find out what that is. Maybe on my deathbed, and still trying to figure it out, but at least I made an effort in doing so. So, but that's it, man. That's what I wanted to show you, and hopefully
I already got somebody. What is your best we'll do Instagram.
Okay. Yeah.
My friend Jess from the Escape the Simulation / Rogue Report.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So let's see if I can't. Can I do multiple people? Hold on. Okay. So I'll get on that.
Cool. Yeah. One of my favorite things when I'm revealing this information to people is just seeing their reactions to it. It's one of my favorite things.
Are you on Twitter?
I did start a Twitter, but I'm not active on it.
What's your handle?
It's 1111 Matrix Code. And I also have an Instagram that's also called 1111 Matrix Code.
Okay, go on Twitter because I just messaged you both.
Okay.
I sent you a message.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see a message, but I see where or maybe this one, 51 seconds ago. Yep.
All right, I just followed you too.
Awesome. Yeah, as you can tell, I haven't done anything on there. But I
You
need
have
to start.
if you have to master all three. You have to get Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram up and running. You have to spread this.
Okay. Yeah, I need to find something where I'm sure there is a software out there that allow you to post to like one post, but it'll post to all three.
Yeah.
Makes it easier than trying to do each one separately.
I'll bet, yeah.
But yeah, it'll be I mean, and I do. I just want to get this information out and let people or just make people aware of it, because I just keep coming back to this whole thing where it has to be for a reason that all of this is coming out.
Right.
So, but yeah. So how's the books going?
The books are going well. I'll have the script in about 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, and then we'll start pitching to TV producers.
Awesome. I would love to see this play out in either a movie or a TV series.
Yeah, I'm working on that, man. I'm trying to get this information out there.
Yeah,
that's why I wrote fiction, is because you can market it.
Right. Yeah. And it may, and I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe I do need to write some kind of story and put this like in the same format that you did. Yeah. I don't want to be looked at, as a copycat or anything like that.
No, not at all. First of all, you're doing numerology. I do astrotheology. That's a completely different topic.
Right.
Guys, one. Number two, I blatantly tell people that I bit off of Dan Brown's style when I write. It's okay to be influenced.
Right. And I mean, yeah, your work has, as you can obviously see, influenced quite a bit in just a short amount of time. So yeah. I just think it's it's awesome. And I can't wait to finish, the series and see what else, comes out.
Well, hold on a second now, because I sent you 4 through 6, but my 7th book is with the publisher. So there will be a 7th, and I'm starting to write the 8th one too.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So is there just going to be 8 period, or
No, I don't think so.
you think it's going to go?
But it
beyond
takes
that?
a long time. I mean, you see what I talk about. Like, it takes a long time to, I mean, the dialogue is not hard because these are just young wise ass kids. So I kind of just delve into my past when they're talking to one another. But it's just a symbiosis of a bunch of different topics, as you can see. So,
Right.
you got to study and you got to understand more. I do a lot of reading.
Yeah. One of the, because I asked you this on Instagram the other day about and your response was, you'll see, but the communication device is talked about. And the reason that just struck this chord with me is because I also do like spirit photography, and I've done spirit communication using like ghost boxes and stuff like that. And I had a conversation with my father, and I believe 100% that it was my dad. He answered questions that, I asked very controlled questions, and he got every single one of them correct.
Right.
But one of the things I asked him was, can you tell me where you are? And it was so odd. His response was, we are by the sea. And my brother's like, whoa, that makes me think of, like the waters above and the waters below. And
Right.
I said, yeah, but it also makes me think of, we refer to space as a sea of stars.
Right.
And then I also asked him, do you like it there? And it was so funny. It's just like he answered like he would if he was here right, in front of me. He responds, uh-huh. Just like that. And excuse me, I said, can you tell me what you do there? And he said, we build. And I said, okay, you build, but what do you build? And no joke, his response was spaceship hull. And I said, I'll have to send you the recording. I said, Dad, did you just say spaceship? And he goes, possibly. Again, like he was just fucking with me.
Yeah.
And then I questioned him. I said, can you tell me why I keep seeing the number 1111? And excuse me, his response was, and this is weird how he answered it. He goes, what is it? And it was like he said that like he knew, but he was buying time.
Right.
And then 2 other voices come in. One said, you can't answer that. And the other one said, you can't tell him. And then I hear, I can't say. And from that moment forward, I have been unable to communicate with him at all.
Oh, wow.
It's like I asked the wrong question, or, I don't know.
Right.
And it makes me wonder too, if he's not somehow assisting me through all of this, but not just giving me the information. He's like assisting me on finding the information on my own. And maybe that's why they said, you can't tell him, you can't answer that. Is because I have to find this information out on my own, but maybe he's part of what's guiding all this. I don't know.
Right.
So that whole communication device thing, it just really like stood out to me. I was like, wow. So yeah. But is it revealed? I mean, do you reveal it in book 4 or?
No, that's how I end it with that. And then it just kind of moves on to more earthly things.
Okay. Awesome.
So you never know what the conversation was.
Oh, you never find out?
No.
Oh man. Do you have an idea, and you're just not going to put it out there, or you just left it that way?
I teased aliens, but I didn't want it to become a science fiction storyline. So I kind of just cut it off.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. And it is interesting because a lot of the phrases that have come up through this in gematria do have an alien or extraterrestrial, like maybe it would be a better word, connection as well.
Mhm.
But I kind of have done the same thing. I've kind of like, I note them, but I haven't included them just yet because, you know, until it becomes more prominent,
Mhm.
then I may start including it. But for the time being, you know, I don't want this to be looked at as though it's science fiction, you know.
Mhm.
So, and a lot of the spirit images that I've captured through my scrying work have been images of extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings. They do not look human at all.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've ever looked at any of them on Instagram or not, but they are the classic gray, you know,
Mhm.
alien look. So, you know, and again, I don't know if any of that plays into this or not. You know, my brothers, you know, suggested that I try to do the spirit communication stuff and ask them questions about all of this. But my only concern with that is you never know exactly who you're speaking to on the other side, and if the information is valid or not. And there's no way to really verify it. Because again, you don't know who you're speaking to. So might be something to try just on my own and see what comes up. And, you know, if it feels like it's super strong, then I could start including it. But I don't know. Just have to see.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
You'll keep me posted, right? You'll let me know if you get some new stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime I come across something, I will let you know. And if, you know, like I said before, if you ever just want to use any of this information, you're more than welcome. Because like I said, you know, I just want to put it out there for everyone. I'm not trying to keep it to myself, and, you know, I'm not trying to make money off of it or anything like that. You know, I've been accused of that from people. It's like, it's not about that. You know, if it gets to a point where it's consuming so much time, you know, and I'm able to monetize stuff or, you know, whatever, so I can focus more of my time and energy on this, then yeah, you know, I might do something like that, but that's not my goal. It's not my, you know, it's not my end game is to bank off of this information. I just want to know what it means, and I just want people to be aware of it.
Right.
So.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to take off.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this. And
thank you. I appreciate it always.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully you'll be inspired to continue this in some way.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I look at this every single day, just looking to see if there's something I might have missed, and seeing if, you know.
Do yourself a favor.
Sure.
All right, try looking into phi or phi and pi and see what you get.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because that did come up with the golden gnomon, the divine triangle, was mentioned a lot through that with the information that I was digging into. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Those numbers aren't from our dimension. They're not from our dimension. They're literally never ending.
Right.
They're not from our dimension.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, look into it. Let me know what you got.
Okay. Definitely. I definitely will.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Thanks, Micah.
Take care.
You too.